Commentary. Ooh, okay. It's working. Alright, what's up guys, it's Devacy, and this is, I don't know what video this is going on because I'm not watching any particular video as this content is just being made because I have a topic to talk about and I want to talk about it, so let's go! Anyways, I want to first thank John Powell. He's a friend of mine from high school and he does YouTube gaming related videos, so I want to thank him because I did recently see that on his channel he threw out a small shout out without my asking or anything like that, so that is just genuine awesomeness coming from that direction, so thank you for that. But today I want to talk to you guys about my trip to Philadelphia. I think I did briefly mention it in, or maybe it was the whole commentary, I don't remember, but my previous video was mentioning that I was going to an all-time low show, but there was also Pierce the Veil, Yumi at 6, and Mayday Parade, so if you like any of those guys, you may want to tune in just a little bit longer. I got there in Philly from my friend Allie, who goes to Drexel University, and she's super awesome because she bought me the ticket to attend the concert. Otherwise I would not have had a reason to go down. Well, I mean, I would have visited them anyways, but not at that particular date. It was also my birthday at the time. And so we get to the concert, to keep things brief and hop right on the topic. We get to the concert at 6:30. We thought the doors opened at 6:30, but the concert actually started at 6:30. No big deal. We kind of were trying to avoid the lines anyways because, you know, no one's trying to sit in line for a while anyways. But we get inside, and of course we get stuck because, you know, we're the last ones in pretty much. I mean, there's a few stragglers, but, you know, for the most part, we are the last ones in. And we're getting stuck at the back of the general admission area. And we're talking like these are like the middle schools who are making out with their pretend relationships because they just don't want to actually be there for the music. They just want to be there for the environment and stuff like that. And they, you know, they get dragged along with their friends. So these are the kids that we get stuck behind. We get stuck behind the kids that are like way too like comfortable with just like making out in public and everything like that. And it's like, guys, I'm just trying to get by you. I don't really care what you're doing. I just want to slip by. Is that okay? But that didn't work out. So we probably sit here for about 5-10 minutes waiting. I think Yumi at 6 was on. And I think at the point when Stay With Me, if you guys are familiar with the music, Stay With Me came on, and this kid to my left, he was wearing a black bandana. That's really all I know about him. He probably looked like he was, like, I don't know, maybe a freshman or sophomore in high school. He starts plowing through all these kids, like, guys, I'm trying to get to the front, just move, and he's just making work with these kids. And then he runs into this girl who's probably about the same size he is, and now keep in mind that he's a little bit bigger than most people here, but not, like, huge. And she turns around, and she gives him the most attitude I've ever seen at a concert. Well, maybe that's not entirely true, but there was a lot of attitude coming from her direction. I'll leave it at that. And he was like, whoa, he's like, I'm trying to get by. I'm not actually trying to have a problem here, but, you know, if people aren't going to move, I'm going to push them out of the way. You know, like, that's how it's going to be. And so he probably stops, and I look over him, and I'm like, man, you trying to get to the front? Because I'm trying to get to the front, and I'm getting no progress done right now. And he's like, dude, absolutely. He's like, I'm trying to go to the front. You want to go? I was like, you go, and I will follow right behind you, man. We will create this train. And he's like, all right, you ready for this? And he's like, he literally like, takes a step back and then just charges. I'm telling you, he just runs through this crowd and just pushes everyone across. I've never seen this done at a concert quite like he did it. It was actually really impressive. And he literally, everyone is just literally just moving to the sides because they don't want to get trampled by this kid. And I'm casually walking with the 3 friends that I am going to the concert with. We are casually walking behind him, laughing the entire way because this kid is so awesome for doing that. Like, obviously he was trying to get to the more towards the front because I think he was there for Pierce the Veil, which was on 3rd. And so he had, you know, probably about an hour to get up front, but it's a slow progress sometimes, but clearly for him, he made that quick work. And we probably got about halfway through the crowd until we got stopped by another group of people who were, you know, of the larger size, who you just could not push out of the way. And we stayed here for a little bit until Yumi at 6 got off the stage. And at this point, Mayday Parade took the stage, and I guess a lot of the middle schoolers, and I say that, I mean, I actually know if they're middle school, but they were all tiny compared to me, so I'm just going to call them middle schoolers. They literally just, everyone literally just rushed to the stage. I don't know what for. Like, I've heard of, like, you know, I know Mayday Parade, I know some of their songs, but I'm not a huge fan. My brother likes them, though, and he's a year younger than me, but that's not the point. But everyone just rushes towards the stage, and I think it was just because, like, there was a break in between the sets, and, like, everyone who was in the back who wanted to get in the front, you know, we all kind of had the same idea, like, just push forward and kind of sneak your way through. And we managed to get about 3/4 of the way through the crowd, and by that I mean in relation to the initial, like, the back of the crowd, not in relation to how far we were from about halfway to the front. I mean, from like all the way to the back to the front, so we were about 3/4 of the way up to the front from all the way to the back because of that initial push. And, like, you know, everybody's swaying to the left, everyone's swaying to the right, and everyone's trying to hold their ground. If you don't have good footing, you're screwed because you're just gonna get stomped on. Not really stomped on, but you're gonna get, like, you're gonna drown in the sea of people. And I'm telling you, like, it was probably a half an hour and everybody's already sweating balls, and it's like a slip and slide in there, and everyone just, it's gross. But it's like, that's the concert environment. Like, you go there because that's like, you know, you go there for that. I mean, obviously you don't go there for you to sweat balls, but like, you know, you don't go to a concert not expecting to just be like way too intimate with everyone around you in terms of physical space. And so at this point, we have pretty good ground. Like, we got past like a lot of people who were a lot bigger than us, so we just started slipping through, you know, inch by inch, kind of, you know, get your shoulder above one person and just slowly slip in front of them and make your way to the stage. And by the time that, you know, there was this one kid, I don't know what his name was, but he was wearing a red t-shirt, and then in front of him was this girl wearing a red t-shirt, so there was like two red people, and we were like the tallest people in the area. And we were having a bunch of conversations every now and again, and we literally, like, and there was this other kid with blonde hair, and he was on his cell phone the entire time sending pictures to his friends or tweeting it out, I don't know. But like, that group of people, like, we probably met about 3/4 of the way through the crowd, and we all ended up getting to the very front of the crowd during Pierce the Veil. I think by the time the Pierce the Veil started, we were all in like the front, like 4 people of the crowd. And you know, eventually sometimes people would request to get lifted up in crowd surf so they could get out of the crowd and stuff like that. So we eventually got ourselves, I was second in line in the crowd. Like, there was only one person in front of me at the fence of the very front of the crowd towards the stage. And obviously they're not going in unless they leave the area. They are not moving because they have nowhere to move. So I'm second line. Technically still in first, 'cause I'm taller than them, so like, what's it matter? I'm pretty much the same distance away. So I say I was in the front row, but technically it was the second. But no one's challenging that. So yeah, it was funny though, because like, I looked over at the guy and I'm like, I looked over at the guy in the red shirt and I was like, I've heard of Pierce the Veil, but I don't really know any of their music, and I feel bad because I'm standing here in the front row and I'm not really getting pumped up because I don't know the music very well. And not to say that they didn't perform well, because they did. It was an awesome show. I like the decorations they had, and I like the environment they put on, the energy that they had on stage. It was a great time. But I felt bad because I didn't know any of the music, so I couldn't get like really into it. And then of course All Time Low took the stage, and I was taken away. I mean, I kind of wish it was more of a throwback concert, like, I mean, like, but I always think that I always want the older stuff, and not to say that the newer stuff isn't good. I mean, there are definitely a few songs of the newer, you know, content that they've released that is good, but I would say that some of the songs, I would say like 2 or 3 of the songs on the set list, I definitely would not have chosen to be on the set list. But of course, they're going to promote their newer stuff because that's what they're kind of, you know, selling at the moment, which was fine. They played a couple of the classics. They played Coffee Shop Soundtrack, which they always play, and I'm so grateful for because that is such an awesome song. And they played 6 Feet Under the Stars, which is also another great older song. And so yeah, it was a great time. But during the set list of All Time Low, at some point, in between the set, when it was quiet, I yelled out "Best Birthday Ever," hoping that, you know, one of the band members of All Time Low would hear me and, you know, maybe say something. But they didn't. But then a few seconds later, the crowd clearly heard me because the crowd started to sing "Happy Birthday," and I kid you not, the crowd sang "Happy Birthday" to me, and it was an awesome feeling because I didn't think that anyone would have done that. I was just hoping for like maybe some kind of acknowledgement from the band members, whether or not they even did anything. But that was a pretty cool thing. I appreciate that from the crowd. That was awesome. It made me feel on top of the world at the moment, on top of everything that was going on. And then a little later, the very last song, obviously, was "Dear Maria." Alex, who is the lead singer of All Time Low, if you guys aren't familiar with that, came down in front of the fence, and he was gonna stay. He stood on a box in front of the crowd, and of course, I have longer arms, and if there's a band member, you're clearly going to try and reach out for him. So me and my friend Sean, who was also there, we happened to be like right next to each other. We got to touch him. All the middle schoolers who had like shorter hands wasn't able to touch him, so that was cool. And then, well, that's relevant because after the concert, I had tweeted out, "It's not every day that you get to touch Alex in his sex mountain of a body." And then Alex quoted that on Twitter and reiterated "sex mountain." And then I probably got, I think, like 50 followers and literally like 10 minutes, and like hundreds of mentions and hundreds of like favorites and retweets. It was absolutely insane. It felt really awesome because like that doesn't happen every day, and for some guy with 600,000 followers to quote what I said, it was an awesome feeling. So, you know, that happens every now and again, but I thought it was incredible. And then also on the way out of the concert, there was this woman. It was a woman. It was probably some underage chick, but I don't know, whatever. She was yelled out of her car, "Happy Birthday." So she recognized me not only in the concert from when I said it, "Best Birthday Ever," but she recognized me walking away from the concert, and she was driving in a car, so that was really cool. And then my friend Rachel, who was also at the concert, she thought she got a concussion, or maybe she did, I'm not really sure, but she thought she got a concussion, so she like got off to the side and took a break. And at some point she acquired a drumstick from Mayday Parade, and she was like, oh, I got this drumstick from Mayday Parade, and I was like, oh wow, my brother's a big fan of them. I was like, I know a couple of songs, but my brother's a huge fan. I was like, that's really cool. And she's like, oh really? She's like, because I have no use for this, because I don't really like the band, or it's a kind of a up and down for me on this band, so here you go, here's the drumstick. And I was like, that's awfully generous to you. Like, I always feel weird when I accept things from people, but, you know, I feel like if it's in their best interest to kind of, if they don't mind giving it away, and they obviously have absolutely no, you know, use for it, then I think that's always thing. Because, like, that reminds me of, in the concert, the kid in the red shirt, the taller kid that, you know, I was having a conversation with every now and again in between set lists, he caught a guitar pick from Pierce the Veil, I believe, and he didn't really, like I said, he didn't really know Pierce the Veil. And so the girl directly in front of him was like, oh my god, that's the coolest thing ever. And he's like, oh, here's the guitar pick, because I don't really know the band, so this means absolutely nothing to me. And like, he totally made that girl's night. And I love the generosity for people like that. Like, that is just, it really sets the mood for concerts. It really, you know, it really sets a good vibe for that kind of thing. Unlike there was this one chick that was like 2 people in front of me, and someone pushed her or something like that. Like, obviously, like, you got hundreds of people trying to push you, because if you're towards the front, you got everybody behind you trying to get your spot. So this one chick, starts mule kicking everyone behind her, and she got me on the shin. She got my friend, I believe, but she was getting everybody. She was just kicking, like, just a rampage of kicks, and that's just, like, that's not cool, man. So, like, after one of the songs, I was like, I literally was just like, hey, can you not kick us? Because it's not us who's trying to push you, it's the people behind us. Like, so, you know, kicking us is not going to help anything. Because it's just rude, you know? Like, you're at a concert, like, stop doing that. Like, you can't run from the people that are directly behind you, so why try to get them angry, you know what I'm saying? And so she was like, well, I'm 6 months pregnant, you shouldn't be pushing me. And I was like, you're really 6 months pregnant at a punk concert. That's really a smart move. Like, you really should be off to the side where people aren't going to be, you know, physically pushing you. And she didn't say anything after that, so, I mean, I think I clearly won the conversation, although I don't think anybody really won, because she's still 6 months pregnant at a punk concert getting pushed around. Not intentionally, of course, but just because of the crowd movement. And I was like, that's just not a win-win situation. Like, you should seriously just be off to the side where, like, you know, you're not going to, you know, potentially danger your baby. But, no, it was a fantastic concert. I had so much fun. I couldn't hit, like, high, like, if I tried to, like, make, like, a higher pitch sound the morning after, I couldn't do it. I kind of lost my voice a little bit, but I was still able to talk, and it was just overall a fantastic time. I'm so glad that I was able to have that opportunity to go down to Philadelphia and visit some college friends, as well as attend the concert with some of my best friends there, and it was just an awesome time. I'm so grateful that that happened. But thanks for listening, guys. It's a 12.5-minute thing, so I hope this was entertaining enough to last the time. But thank you for listening, and thank you for watching, and have a nice day.